World of Tankers, welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Rudol's Blitz, and in today's video we'll be doing a masterclass on the Tier 10 Italian tech tree tank destroyer, the Minotauro. In today's video I'll be showcasing how you are able to 3-mark this tank and showcase your capabilities in the battlefield. We're going to go over the armor, the statistics, and some gameplay. So make sure to stay tuned, and if you're not subscribed and you learn something new, make sure to smash that subscribe button. We're going to start off with the basics, the overall statistics and armor profile of this tank. Let's start off with the armor, and this thing does have a lot of armor. This is what 290 millimeters of APCR looks like aiming in on the front of this tank. Yeah, it's pretty dang strong. The upper plate of the Minnow is around 330. The turret is around 330 as well, and actually at the time of recording, next update, this thing's getting a turret armor buff. The only real weak points you're going to be looking at are the hatch, which is about 250 at weakest, and the lower plate, which is also about 250. You also have these little bars which connect to the track wheels, which are about 212, and you can pen those at basically any angle, but my recommendation is just shoot the lower plate. If you can't pen the lower plate, load gold. It's going to be a pretty easy pen at just about any angle, as we can see. Now, the Minnow's turret is really durable, especially because this thing has 10 degrees of gun depression. When using full gun depression, the turret's over 400 thick. You're not going to be penetrating this thing again, apart from the hatch, or maybe this bar right here. The problem is the gun is also right there, so you have a pretty high chance of hitting the gun when the Minnow's using gun depression. Against standard ammo, it's actually going to be a bounce, so you basically are forced to load gold to try and penetrate the Minnow. And because this thing has a turret, it's actually pretty good at rolling around corners and using that gun depression to do a really good job. So in general, the Minnow is a really dangerous vehicle when it comes to the armor profile. How about the gun? Well, you're going to be running calibrated shells, enhanced gun laying drive, and refined gun. You're going to pair that with improved assembly. We're going to be doing toolbox, and then engine accelerator, and consumable delivery system. This is going to be your best overall build. Doing this, you're going to be sitting at around 2,500 DPM. A lot of people don't realize, but the Minnow actually has surprisingly effective damage per minute. Effectively, at 60 seconds, you have 3,349 DPM. And that's because you have this 2,500 DPM paired with the additional shells loaded. For example, the Minnow has 3 shells, each dealing 490 damage. Now, the reserve shell is going to take forever to reload, so if you dump the reserve shell, you're not going to be playing the most effective. The best way to use the Minnow is shoot it on shell 3, and then reload, shoot it on shell 3 again, reload. It doesn't really make a difference whether you shoot it on shell 2 or 3, though, in terms of DPM. They're pretty close on the reload. But the most effective way to use it is shoot once on shell 3, and then wait for the shell to reload. And then you're basically going to use it single shot. And then when you have the opportunity to shoot more shells, that's when you fire 1 and 2. And then you can shoot shell 2 on single shots. You get basically a free 1,000 damage, and then about 2,400 DPM. And that about checks out, because that's 3,300 DPM. So, yeah, a lot of players think, oh, the Minnow doesn't have good DPM. That's a lie. This tank will smoke any heavy if you are trading with it due to the fact it has these extra shells. And that 3,300 effective DPM is not adding the reserve shell. So if you need to dump that reserve shell, you can actually have almost 4k DPM. After you shoot the reserve shell, your damage per minute is going to hemorrhage, but it doesn't really matter. If you've already killed what's in front of you, who cares? You've already done the job. Now, interestingly enough, this tank is also not the slowest. It has a top speed of 34, and while the power to weight ratio is pretty bad, it's not the worst experience ever in terms of its mobility. It's actually surprisingly mobile. So the Minnow has the armor of a Super Heavy, a gun that hits really hard with 490 alpha, and really none of the downsides of either. But it does have one big downside, and that's the accuracy. This vehicle's base dispersion is terrible. Its on-movement dispersion is pretty bad as well, and in general, it's not an accurate gun. It's not like unusable levels of accuracy, but if you don't aim in, you're going to be missing quite a few shots, and don't even get me started on trying to snap shells. It's pretty bad. So, with all that being said, let's actually showcase some gameplay from the Minnow. I played 67 battles in the tank today to get it to the 3-mark capabilities. And we can see from the recording here that in this battle, I only had 2 marks on the tank as I was trying to get to the 3 marks. I was at around like 93% mark at this point, and you're going to see that this game actually made me want to die inside. So what we're going to do to start off is move up to base D. And we're going to cap it. when it comes to 3 marking or getting any marks, capturing bases and playing on Supremacy is going to be a really important thing. I'm actually going to be playing on Supremacy a lot more lately, just because of the fact that getting base caps on Supremacy is a flat, easy way to increase the amount of XP you get. So in front of us, we got the 60 TP, we have an M103, and we got an ATAC. Okay, well, the 60 TP is really dangerous. It does have APCR standard, which will struggle to pen my lower plate, but at the same time, still hits for 630. It also has tungsten, which is really dangerous. But the Minnow hits really hard as well. 2 penetrating shells, and I'm already up to 1,100 damage. Think about that. This is why the Minnow is actually really dangerous. The alpha damage on this tank is just crazy. And a lot of players don't realize that, like, you can roll an enemy's HP away. 2 shots into that 60, and we basically halved his health. So we got 3 shells now. I want to be able to get another shot in the 60. He's looking away. Boom. There's another 470, and that's 1,500 HP we've taken off that player. Now I'm just going to load a gold shell, slam it right into the side, and we're up to 2,000 damage. Not too bad. Now, we do have to be careful here, because we got a 183 and Yo on the side, and, well, you can see the IS-7 took the fall. 1,200 HP off the IS-7. We're going to aim it on the side of the M103 and get a 520 roll, and now we're up to 2,400 already. You can see that the Minnow is no slouch in terms of dealing damage. It definitely gets it out pretty easily. So we're going to aim it on the lower plate of the M103. There you go. Nice, easy shot. 2,700 now. Okay. As I mentioned, your DPM isn't too big of a difference between Shell 2 or Shell 1, so it doesn't matter if I'm shooting on either shell right now. But I do want to get that final shell loaded so we can just annihilate this poor M6 Yo. So let's see, this M6 Yo is 1,800 health. That is 505, putting me over 3,000 damage. That's another 613. Oh my god. That's crazy. And now I'm just going to reload and wait a teeny bit longer. Now we've also managed to get some assistance damage, which is pretty nice. With the assistance combined, we're over 5,500 damage right now. There's only a couple tanks left. Well, I take it back. They're all dead. We've done 4,000 though, which is pretty good, and the only tank left is the enemy ATAC. Now, the ATAC looks like they're going to be making their way towards our 50 TP, so I'm really hoping that I can get this final shell into the ATAC. Oh, there they go, aiming, and... Are you kidding me? We bounced the ATAC. That vehicle has 35 millimeters of upper plate armor, and following the rules of 3 caliber, I should have overmatched every single plate. But I think my shell managed to hit the gun, and because of that, it didn't pen. Either way, pretty good battle. We got 4,159 damage, 3 kills, and that increased my ace by quite a bit. In fact, you can take a look and see that that battle put my mark to 94.99%. To put into your mind what that means, to 3-mark a tank, you have to hit 95%. We were 0.01% away of the mark. You can find the clip on the live stream of me flipping Wargaming off. I was really pissed. And what really pissed me off even more was that I played that game there. So it took me another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games after that Normandy battle to then eventually get it to 95%. That was really annoying. It threw me off 5 games just like that. A bit of a bummer, but at the end of the day, not too big of a deal. So let's take a look at another game in the Minnow. How about we look at this one on Hellas? This was a pretty chill battle, but one that allowed me really to kind of just rip into the enemy. So up against us, what do we have? We have an FE2 and 5B183, IS-7, Progetto, Sheridan, VK-72. Okay, I mean, they got 3 heavies, 2 tank destroyers, and, oh, we gotta love that person in the chat. That's not the first time they were in my game either. You can't play on the NA server without racism. And, you know, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, why don't you hide it from the chat? But, like, at the end of the day, nobody's getting hurt by a bunch of words. I mean, the only person getting hurt is their brain capacity. So, in the beginning of this battle, we can see the VK-72, we can see the IS-7. I'm trying to get around this MBTB. Come on, bro, let me go. Oh, well, let's aim in and go for the track wheel. Boom. It's always important to go for tracking shots. If those of you don't know, if you track the enemy, you get assistance damage whenever they get shot. So you actually get half the damage. So for example, if I shoot this enemy VK-72 in the track and then my T-30 shoots him for 640, I'll get 320 of that as assistance damage. And assistance damage increases the amount of XP you get, which increases the chances of you marking your vehicle. So we got the IS-7, we get a nice pen into the lower plate. And we load a gold shell to just go right through the upper plate. The nice thing about the Minnow being a tank destroyer is that it does feature really good pen. It's not anything crazy, like it's not 268 values of pen, but it's enough that you'll be able to get the job done. So we're up to 1400 damage now. His IS-7 for some reason is poking me, and not only bounces me, but gets rolled 613. I don't understand why you would make that play, but I don't care. We're up to 2000 damage now. We're going to reload again, and boom, I get the clear into the IS-7. Not only that, but I'm capturing the base, which is a big advantage for my team and me increasing on XP. So we can see the VK-72, we can see the 183, and we see a no camo Waffenträger. I only have to wait 5 more seconds for my third shell to come back, and you are about to watch an absolute bloodbath. 728 damage, followed up by another 640. Oh my god. A full health tank in 2 shots was brought down 1300 health. And not only that, but in 2 more seconds I reload my shell and clear the Waffenträger out of the game. Such a good example of where the Minnow is insane. And then I use my reserve shell and take the enemy VK out of the battle. We don't end up doing any more damage this game, but we assisted 600, did 4,123, that's 4,700 combined, and a pretty easy game. The high explosive alpha on the Minnow is crazy. And when you're able to, to get it to work, it's wild. A max roll from the HE is 788. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 630 alpha. Let's double check. Yeah, it is 630 alpha. That's just wild levels of high explosive capabilities, and it really allows this tank to be super dangerous. Now, that's not to say every game you play in the Minnow is going to be a fantastic one. This game here is actually the wrong one. We have to back out. I played a really, really bad game on Port Bay, and it wasn't the Minnow's fault the game was bad. It was just the team. Unfortunately, while the Minnow may be a very, very good vehicle, it is also very team dependent. And being an A-team dependent tank, well, you'll see. This game on Port Bay, we have a Jagdpanzer, we got a Grill, E4 up against us. Okay, so let's skip a little bit ahead for when the action starts. We can see that my T100 LT and 907 are crossing. Okay, that's pretty stock standard. I'm going to push up as well. I got the good spawn, which means I can get right up to the hill, base C, and get hulled down. So we got the M6 Show, we got the E4, we got the 121B. Oh god, my T100's already dead. Well, that's not a good start. That's a really bad start. Okay, well, let me work this ridge line here. We get a shell into the grill. Nice, 517. We got the E4, and boom, 420. The Ag does shoot me, but you know what? I dealt 900 damage. That's still a win in my books. Okay. Not good, not good. There's a Yo on my flank now. I've already realized this game's cooked. Like, what am I supposed to do? And you'll notice that the Minnow reverse is pretty slow. So we gotta back up here. Dang it, dude. Dang it. Missed the shell on the enemy grill. Alright, we gotta keep backing up. 907's on my rear. AMX M4's dead. We're down the T100 and the AMX. And, yeah, our Sheridan bailed completely. Look at the rest of my team. My 183's a one-shot. My 907's a one-shot. And I'm being shot across the map. Because this thing has terrible camo values and terrible view range, well, it's not a great situation to be stuck in. So, yeah, we're up to 900. I'm going to shoot the Ag once. Back up, back up, back up, back up. Come on, keep backing up. I'm going to shoot the Ag again. And are you kidding me? The Ag rolls 1,000 damage on me, and then the E4 kills me. Couldn't reverse fast enough. This tank only reverses at 12. So, yeah, that was the end of my game. 1,000 damage roll from the Ag. What the heck, bro? Yeah. But you can see exactly where the lacking of mobility and the fact that you can't really reverse fast puts you in a really bad spot sometimes. I still did top on the team by quite a large margin. This is one of the worst teams I've ever seen. And what really sucked is that this game threw my mark down by a solid percent. We can see that here. It went down 1.06%. But at the end of the day, you can't always stop bad teams from existing, and you just got to try and do your best. So I've done a lot of yapping. I've done a lot of replays. Let's do one live battle with my Minnow now that we have the 3 marks on it. The nice thing about the Minnow and any tank that you get 3 marks on is even if you have a bad game and you go below the marking threshold, you will not lose the 3 marks on your tank. Once you get them, they're permanent. And this is really nice because it basically means, hey, I'm skilled enough to reach this, but I don't want to try hard every single battle. And that's definitely the case for me. I don't want to have to try hard every single time I play this tank. I just wanted to try hard to get to the 3 marks. But now that we have them, we're going to chill and just showcase the capabilities of this vehicle. So let's see what we can do. First things first, I'm going to speed boost on up here. What do we have up against us? We got a 4202, M6 Yo. Alright, well, I'm hoping this E75 doesn't get in my way. Nice. You can see, though, like, mobility-wise, the Minnow's not the slowest tank ever. It's just not the fastest, right? We're still chilling at 34 here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to move to mid. Now, I don't have too much support on the medium flank. We do have a Leopard, but that's it. I got to be careful here. First thing I always like to do is I like to look on this crossing here. Sometimes heavies like to cross that, but as we can see, the mouse and the rest of the enemy team is crossing over towards base C. So what that means is I'm going to move up over here myself, and we'll see if the mouse tries to... Well, we got the V4 over there. But I'm going to keep aiming in on this mouse. I'm hoping that they try to cross... Interesting. I mean, I can push the V4. I'm not worried about them at all. Yeah, let's just push the V4. See if we can get some damage into them. The thing is, right, the V4 might feature a pretty nasty alpha, but at the end of the day, it has APCR standard, and my gun hits really hard, as we can see. So I'm just going to load another gold shell into the lower plate of the 268 version 4, and boom. Just like that, we took 1,258 health off that player. They're out of the game. Sure, did I dump my reserve shell? Yes. But what was the negative effect? There really wasn't one. And that's what a lot of people need to remember. Dumping your reserve shell isn't always a downside. Sometimes it does give you a lot of benefits. And in this game, it gave me the benefit of literally taking a pretty healthy 268 version 4 right out of the game. Okay, 4202 is still camping back there. That's pretty dang lame. But I don't care. We got to wait a little bit longer for my second shell to get loaded here. And is the KPZ over here? Indeed they are. Boom. Nice 515 shot. Our grill is moving over as well, which is pretty nice. And for now, that 4202 is still trying to stare at me. Okay, the grill gets a shot into the KPZ. So if the KPZ is going to be distracted by the grill, we're just going to reload for a little bit longer for my my final shell here. Okay, there you go. And then we can drive up the ridge. Boom. There's another nice shell into the KPZ. And up again. Boom. Another nice shell. That's 2,700 damage already. And again, you can see how, sure, the DPM on paper might not be the craziest, but when you're able to rip out 1,000 damage in 3 seconds, trust me, you're pretty dangerous. So we have the 4202, who was last seen right in front of us. I'm just going to chill here. There's the 4202. And we're just going to move up this bridge, and we're going to aim it on the mouse's upper plate, and boom. Okay. We actually got kind of trolled there. Let's just aim it on the mouse again. This time we will not bounce. There you go. 445. That player's gone, and that leaves us with just 3 tanks left. We have the 4202, the Jagdpanzer, which I've yet to see, which I would assume means that the Jag is AFK, but we're already over 3,000 damage, so it's not like I'm really struggling here. We gotta wait just a little bit longer. And 3, 2, 1. Alright. Boom. There's a 547 into the 4202. Boom. There's 479, and then we reload one more shell. Boom. 470. We're up to 4,700 damage now. And what a good example of where this gun doesn't give a single crap. Even if we don't get much more damage out this game, I don't really care. We've already done our jobs. So we do have the Jag who shoots, and we're going to reload. 3, 2, 1. Boom. There you go. We still get another shot. 408. Putting us over the 5,000 damage. So there you go. The Minnow is a fantastic tier 10. And it does require skill, just like any tier 10. But, as you've noticed, it is a tank that you can master pretty easily once you learn the basics. And, yeah, there you go. 5,120 damage, 3 kills. We got a first class, and that actually put us pretty high on our team. And what's funny is that we've even increased our mark on this vehicle, so now we're at 95.42. Either way. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think about the Minnow, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future on how you can 3-mark your tanks, make sure to smash that subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.